Okay, so we're moving along into the end of the first party system into the era of good feelings. Okay, so the legacy of James Monroe. So ever since the 1800, the presidency was dominated by Virginians. So, and by the way, you kind of see this is common in many different kind of states where um, often a particular region or group will dominate um, that is within the group. In other words, this is white elite America, but a particular group coming out of a particular area. It's kind of like within Israel now, politics has mainly been dominated by Ashkenazi Jews as opposed to other groups of Jews as Sephardic and Mizrahi, but that's a whole nother topic. Okay, so James Monroe, he was picked by Madison for presidential nomination, so he handpicked and then he won. And he picked New Englander John Quincy Adams for Secretary of State. All right, the son of our second president. He also went out of his way to appoint Northerners and Southerners, and he actually didn't just stay local. He's one of the first presidents, well, since Washington, to actually tour the country. Okay, and that's significant. I mean, also think about this. You know, without media, people, these pictures that we see now may be the same pictures all that any other person in the United States ever saw of their president, right? Because newspapers, it's pretty much it, unless you had a chance to see them in person live, right? So just kind of think about that. All right. A Federalist newspaper claimed this to be an era of good feelings. So, he was trying to be a workable guy here. Now, John Quincy Adams played, though, a major role at this time. And this is where Monroe saw the presidency as important, but, it's the institution of the presidency, not just him himself. So many of the things that Monroe is known for, such as the Monroe Doctrine, which we'll end up talking about later, was really a product of John Quincy Adams, who, as a personality, wasn't everybody's favorite, but he did a lot of work. So let's talk about him. He was a committed nationalist promoting American expansion. He worked with negotiations with Spain to get all of Florida. So remember, Florida was a part of Spain, and there was a lot of issues that were taking place there because Spain didn't really have a strong hold on it. So there was issues of a lot of pirates, a lot of people kind of seen as bandits, a place that you could kind of hide away. There was much conflict with the Seminole Indians and settlers on the borders of that land. And and basically, you'd have U.S. merchants getting attacked. Okay, again, settlers. And it was really seen as something that Spain, as a sovereign state should be handling, and they weren't. And this aggravated many Americans. And Secretary of War Calhoun encouraged Commander of Troops Andrew Jackson, who we're going to see emerge as a president very shortly, to basically do whatever it takes to stop Seminole raids. And he did a preemptive invasion. Now, Andrew Jackson's attack was a violation of Spanish sovereignty. It had the potential of creating a crisis. And there were some debates going on of whether or not that Andrew Jackson should be reprimanded for what he did. And ultimately, it was seen as, we can only take so much. This is time for, America to kind of think about, are we going to be pushed around are we going to send a message when, you know, that we just can't sit by idly and be passive? And so some people wanted Jackson to be reprimanded. He didn't get a reprimand, and in fact, ultimately this led to an opportunity for the Adams-Onis Treaty, which was an important treaty of 1819. Okay, again, shortly after that War of 1812, the U.S. gave up claims to Texas at the time, right? And then Spain gave up all of Florida and all its possessions in the Pacific Northwest. So here we're going again to see this expansion of territory. Okay, very significant. But in the middle of all this, we also had some financial problems. Now, the Panic of 1819 is a little bit complex. I'm going to send you a video clip that has some classical music and simply some words to explain it. I'm going to have you watch that, and then we're going to move on to what I want to focus on more, which is what happens with what's called the Missouri Compromise. And it goes back to that question that we were talking about, is as the United States starts expanding, where slavery's role is going to play in it, and some of the debates that take place at this time. So I will end here, and we'll I'll put the clip up of the Panic of 1819.